is the big guy, the one who did Terminator 2.
Cameron.
Yeah, James Cameron. He paid for a little girl that had no arm to get a cyber arm.
Right. Wow.
Right? That's what he did with the proceeds from the movie. He bought a cyber arm.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but you know what Brie
awesome.
Larson did? She went to like a poor inner city people and paid for them to paid for their busing so they could come buy tickets to see her movie. And then she gave a speech about how much she hated white people and men before so it's like, yeah, so
tone deaf.
But she didn't actually give them the tickets to the movie. She just paid for the busing to get them to buy tickets.
Right. Not even.
Yeah.
Let me treat you to a movie.
It wasn't even treating them to a movie because her whole point was, I don't want this movie to be watched by white men. Yikes. So it's like, well, that's your whole audience. Yeah. That's like 65% of the country's white. 90% of the people who go to Marvel movies who pay for the tickets at least are men. So it's like you just alienated 57% of the country. That's why your movie did shit.
Hey, hello, and welcome everyone. This is Geeked and Jacked on the Rise 41 podcast. I'm your host, Gonzalo Gonzo Herrero, and really, this is my co-host, Dr. Todd Lee, the doctor, biochemist, all things guru, reverend. I don't know. Maybe we'll start a religion and then figure something out.
In 2005, I started a religion, so it actually is Reverend Dr. Todd Lee, but I don't usually go by that. I don't actually use the Reverend Dr. Todd Lee thing.
Oh, you got the boom. Is that working?
Yeah.
Sounds real good.
I got a new one. I got a new one. I had one the whole time. It was just broken. The Shure mic is good, but the Shure boom was shit.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
let me adjust my lights really quick. Hold on. Let me adjust my lights really quick.
Yeah, go for it. We'll get the lights. So, all right, man. So let's get this thing started. So first of all, 14 weeks out. Tell me about that. What you got going there?
It's just the normal. This is probably the easiest prep I can remember doing in a long time because I think that I'm actually on really low carbs for me. I never go below 200, and my low days are below 200. But because of the combination of the Retta TrueTide with the MOTS-c and the Sloopy, it's like way easier than a normal prep would be.
So because it suppresses appetite, works better, all the things basically.
All right, well, let me be more clear. So the clenbuterol liberates the fat from the fat cells. The L-carnitine transports the fat from the bloodstream into the mitochondria. The MOTS-c accelerates the efficiency of the mitochondria, and the Sloopy up-regulates the speed of the mitochondria. So I'm generating way more energy, but I'm taking it from fat, not from carbohydrates.
So
because of the growth hormone. And then the cool thing about the Retta TrueTide is that it keeps the blood glucose level stable.
Nice.
So if I was to get tired, normally rather than just burning yourself in the ground, because of the triple agonist with the glucagon, it keeps the liver pumping out carbohydrates. And so I never actually run low. It'll just be, I'll go from not hungry to incredibly dizzy, delirious hungry in less than 30 minutes. Normally I would get like a 30-minute warning that I need to eat. Now it's just kind of like, you need to eat right now. And then you're just shaking and stuff.
Wow. Okay. So basically, this is a scenario where 1 + 1 + 1 = 10 is what I'm hearing.
Right. Normally synergy is what we go for, but usually when you do the synergy stuff for fat loss, you end up being extremely tired. And so people rely on caffeine. So then they don't sleep. So they get crankier and delirious and
your
psychotic.
rest suffers. Your recovery suffers, I'm sure.
Where now that's not the case because I'm never getting low energy. And then I have a whole different protocol for sleeping that's just as elaborate as my wake up protocol.
Okay.
But it's never using caffeine. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay. So do you ever use caffeine at all? Like at any point of the day?
I use the word never intentionally.
Okay. So never. Okay. All right. So
not even
just
a
so you know, just so you know, and you're gonna laugh. I'm also in my little cut face pre. So remember how doctor's orders, we upped our test and we upped our GH 2 weeks ago. So the first thing that happened is that I forgot is that what happens to me whenever I go up in GH, even if it's 1 IU, I got the cankles, man. Like the water, the crazy water retention. And then I had to fly this weekend to visit some friends, which was great. But combine the water retention, which what I did was because I knew I had to fly, I went back down to my original dosage of three units instead of 4, just to hold off a little bit on the water retention. I'll get back to 4 now. But long story short, when I left Birmingham, I weighed 203 pounds. When I came back after eating like a crazy person, not working out for 3 days, and then an airplane flight, I came back weighing 210 pounds in water weight
7
and
pounds of
sodium.
water.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then this is where you're gonna laugh. I tried the sugar diet because why not?
Why?
I just got back just to try it, just see if it even
it
works.
sounds so
Because I'm curious. Because
I
I'm
don't
a
understand.
biohacker.
But this is not new.
I know. Well, it's new to me. Remember, like it's to you guys, it's old hat. You know.
They did this in like the 1890s.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was new to me the way it's been.
150 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
the way it's I guess it's been popularized by like Chase and company and all that. So here's what happened, which was really cool. I went from 210 to 205 to 202 to 198 today in 4 days, which is insane.
But I mean,
it's all water,
so
but still.
the whole point of the sugar diet is a calorie is a calorie, right? This is not new.
Right.
I figured this out in the 1890s, and it's just a matter of calories. It's only idiots who think that the food matters.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess so. But
it's protein and calories. Those are the only things you have to keep track of.
Exactly. Which is what I normally do, by the way. Like normally I don't care as long as my calories are within my window and my proteins, I hit my minimum, which I always hit religiously. So it was an interesting experiment,
But when you use sugar, you're increasing the chances of growing cancer.
Oh.
So that's why that no one does that. That's why it's stupid. It's why it's always the dumbest meatheads who are talking about this sugar diet and not anyone with any education.
I'm a mini meathead.
Yeah, well, you're easily influenced by those around you. You're someone who likes these influencers, and so they're able to get in your head.
I like to try new things. It's the thing. I'm always curious. That's the thing. But thankfully,
yeah. I mean, it's extremely irresponsible of these people to promote the sugar diet.
Okay, so that's the official doctor.
It's not.
This is old school. This is
not
new.
Fucking retarded. It's
dumb.
They figured out that sugar caused cancer a long time ago. And that's why people who give a fuck about themselves don't eat sugar at all.
All right. So in your regular life, you just minimize or never sugar?
No sugar. Never.
Okay. No added sugar of any kind, unless it's part of naturally, like a fruit or something. Yeah.
I don't eat fruit.
Okay. Really? Okay.
Yeah. When I say I eat chicken, rice, peas, and carrots, that's what I eat.
Literally, like all the time. This is the monk-like existence right here.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why I don't like it when people call themselves bodybuilders who eat the sugar diet. Anyone who eats the sugar diet is not a real bodybuilder.
Oh, man. These are fun. I love this. This is going to blow up the algorithm.
Yeah. Fuck those people.
Oh, shit. All right. Thanks for the extra algorithm attention, man. This is going to be very quotable when we do shorts.
Fuck everyone who supports the sugar diet. If you do the sugar diet, you deserve the cancer you get. Fuck you.
Oh, man.
For an algorithm.
So anyway, by the way, one bad side effect, and this will make you probably knew this. I'm sure you knew this. So because I started eating all this fruit and all this fiber, and normally I eat a fairly high protein, moderate fats, very low carb lifestyle diet. It's usually how I roll. That's how I kept the weight off after losing 100 pounds. So one thing that happened that was super not fun was all that fiber in my gut. Man, the pain that came by the stomach distress after 3 days of that. It was bad. It was really bad. And that's basically why I'm like, I'm done with this. The experiment's over. This is stupid. But anyway, another thing to think about, GI distress, not a fun thing. So yeah, back to I ordered my SLU, my GHKCU, and I'm already taking GH. So and methylene blue. I'm gonna keep it light. I've I've never done MOTS-c. I've heard great things for the people like you that react well to it, but I don't know. I don't know, and I'm not a
So
bodybuilder, so I'm not
you
desperate to
ordered a
use.
car, but you didn't pay for the steering wheel.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
I mean,
it's
these
the way you're
things,
doing it is
you
the
got
ultimate.
redundant shit, but you're missing the most important part of the whole
So the
thing.
MOTS-c you think is
It's
the
the most
vital
important part.
element? Huh,
It's the most important
interesting.
part.
Okay, all right.
If the
All right.
mitochondria is not working more efficiently, then
Mhm.
you're not going to get any more energy out of the mitochondria, no matter how much substrate you give it. It doesn't make any
Interesting.
sense.
Yeah. Well, I had really good success with SLU and GH before, so I assumed like MOTS-c would even supercharge it, like we talked about before.
So you're going to speed up the way that the mitochondria works, but you don't make it more efficient.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Okay, so maybe the MOTS-c will be
Why
in
are
the
you
mail.
afraid of MOTS-c, but you're going to use methylene blue, which is proven to be dangerous?
Wait, so methylene blue, let's talk about that a little bit.
It's extremely toxic.
Okay, so I thought it was one of those that's got the long history of being used as an antiviral successfully in extremely high doses. So would that not make it in lower doses less likely to be damaging? I
I
mean,
mean,
explain
if your
away.
antibiotics kill people, so I don't know why you'd
Okay.
want to take an antibiotic
Oh,
unless you're sick. So let's
okay.
ask Nova rather than
Yeah,
asking
let's
me.
go for it.
So
Get the
Nova, what
AI
are
in here.
the consequences of using methylene blue?
Methylene blue has a range of uses and effects. So the consequences can vary depending on the dose and how it's used. At low doses, it's sometimes used as a cognitive enhancer or for its antioxidant properties. It's also been used medically for conditions like methemoglobinemia. However, at higher doses, it can cause side effects like nausea, vomiting, or even serotonin syndrome if combined with certain medications. Plus, it can turn your urine or even the whites of your eyes blue temporarily, which can be a bit surprising.
You look
So
like a
is
Fremen.
it toxic?
Yeah, I guess it. I
General
guess it is.
methylene blue is considered safe at low doses when used appropriately, but it can be toxic if taken in large amounts or if it's not used correctly.
All right. So Nova, you got to speak numbers. What's low doses is baby talk. Talk numbers.
So low doses of methylene blue typically range from about 0.5 to 4 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day. These doses are often used for cognitive enhancement or as an antioxidant. When you go beyond that range, especially into higher doses like 7 to 10 milligrams per kilogram or more, that's where you start to see a high risk of side effects and potential toxicity. So the key is really to stay within that lower range and to use it carefully.
So why is everyone using it for fat loss?
Methylene blue has gotten some attention recently because it can enhance mitochondrial function, and mitochondria are basically the powerhouses of the cell. So improving their efficiency can potentially boost metabolism and energy production. That might help with fat loss indirectly, but it's not exactly a mainstream or well-established fat loss supplement. So it's definitely something that people should approach with caution and not rely on solely for losing weight.
All right. Is it redundant with MOTS-c, or do they work synergistically because they have different pathways?
They actually work through different pathways, so they can be complementary. Methylene blue primarily helps by improving mitochondrial efficiency and reducing oxidative stress. MOTS-c, on the other hand, is a mitochondrial derived peptide that helps regulate metabolic functions like how your body responds to insulin and how it uses glucose. So if someone were to use both, they might see synergistic effects since they're targeting different aspects of cellular metabolism.
All right. And then how does the Sloopy SLUPP332 work on which the estrogen orphan receptors, but how does that affect the mitochondria?
Thinking.
SLUPP332 is a synthetic compound that activates estrogen-related receptors, particularly ER alpha. By activating these receptors, it enhances mitochondrial function and energy metabolism, especially in skeletal muscle cells. This leads to increased fat oxidation and improved exercise endurance. So it kind of gives your mitochondria a nice little boost.
But so you're using a lot of really vague terms. You say things like increases mitochondrial efficiency and gives mitochondria a boost. I need to know exactly how on the electron transport chain each of these 3 drugs.
Methylene Blue works on the electron transport chain by acting as an alternative electron carrier. It can accept electrons from NADH at complex I and then donate them directly to cytochrome C, effectively bypassing some steps and improving electron flow, which reduces oxidative stress and boosts energy production. MOTS-c, on the other hand, influences cellular metabolism through signaling pathways that improve insulin sensitivity and promote healthy mitochondrial function, but it doesn't directly interact with the electron transport chain in the same way. Instead, it optimizes how cells utilize energy and respond to nutrients. SLUPP332, by activating the ERR alpha, enhances the expression of genes involved in mitochondrial biogenesis and function, leading to an increase in the number and efficiency of mitochondria. This doesn't change the electron transport chain directly, but it does
Increases
enhance
them. So
Okay.
is this permanent? Do you permanently have more mitochondria in your muscle cells if you use SLUPP332?
The effects of SLUPP332 on mitochondrial biogenesis aren't necessarily permanent. While the compound can boost the number and efficiency of mitochondria during use, these effects generally depend on continued activation of those pathways. Once you stop using it, your body will gradually return to its baseline mitochondrial levels, especially if you're not maintaining the same stimulus through exercise or other factors. So it's more of a temporary boost rather than a permanent change.
All right, so I'm going to summarize what I think you said. Tell me if I'm correct. So MOTS-c works by providing better insulin sensitivity, so you're providing more substrate to generate ATP from the mitochondria. Methylene Blue works by improving the electron transport chain efficiency so that it speeds up the speed at which you convert energy sources like fat and carbs into ATP. And the SLU increases the number of mitochondria, so it multiplies the effects of the other 2 drugs by providing more mitochondria to do the work of ATP synthesis. Is this correct?
Yes,
That's
that's
it.
a great summary. MOTS-c helps improve insulin sensitivity, making it easier for your cells to access and utilize glucose, which provides the substrate for ATP production. Methylene Blue boosts the efficiency of the electron transport chain, making energy production more efficient. And SLUPP332 increases the number of mitochondria, effectively amplifying the capacity for ATP production. Altogether, they can work synergistically to enhance energy metabolism and performance.
So if someone was using GH and Clen along with anabolics, since the anabolics increase the androgen, the beta-2 receptor density on the fat cells, and the Clen binds to the beta-2 and beta-3, releasing the fat from the fat cells, and the GH partitions fat for being used for fuel instead of carbohydrates, then does the MOTS-c actually matter?
In that scenario, MOTS-c can still play a supportive role, even though the combination of anabolics, Clen, and GH is already pretty powerful for fat loss, since anabolics increase beta-2 receptor density, Clen helps release fat from cells, and GH shifts the body's preference to use fat over carbs. MOTS-c can further enhance overall metabolic health. It helps optimize how efficiently cells use energy and can contribute to better insulin sensitivity, which might help maintain steady energy levels and possibly even improve recovery and performance. So while it might not be absolutely essential, it can still add some extra benefits to the overall fat loss and metabolic process.
All right, so the final thing is retatrutide. How does the triple agonist action of retatrutide influence this collection of, I believe we're up to 5 to 7 drugs right now?
Yeah. It's a super stack.
Retatrutide is a triple agonist that targets the GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon receptors. This combination enhances metabolism, reduces appetite, and boosts energy expenditure, which can lead to significant weight loss. When you add retatrutide to a stack that already includes things like anabolics, Clen, GH, MOTS-c, and Methylene Blue, it can further amplify the metabolic benefits. Essentially, it adds another layer of metabolic optimization, making the entire stack even more effective at promoting fat loss and improving energy utilization.
So out of all
Jesus.
these compounds, it sounds like if you had to lose one, MOTS-c is the least important. Would you agree with that? Or do you think methylene blue is the least important?
It really depends on the specific goals and individual needs. But generally speaking, MOTS-c might be considered less critical in the context of a powerful stack like this. Methylene Blue provides a direct boost to mitochondrial efficiency, and while MOTS-c enhances insulin sensitivity and metabolic health, its effects might be more subtle compared to the others. So if you had to prioritize, MOTS-c could be seen as the least essential piece in that particular combination.
Now, what's going on with this sugar diet bullshit? Is this just a matter of calories in or calories out? Or is there some type of magic that they've discovered with sugar? Because everyone I see talking about it's pretty much a meathead
No
moron.
magic. I don't think it's magic.
Yeah, the so-called sugar diet is mostly a case of calories in versus calories out. There isn't any special magic to sugar itself that leads to fat loss. Typically, if someone's losing weight on a high sugar diet, it's because they're still in a calorie deficit. They might be controlling their overall intake or compensating with exercise. So at the end of the day, it's really about maintaining that energy balance rather than sugar having some unique fat burning property.
Okay. Because there is nobody with a brain talking about this, but it's getting more and more popular. So that's why I'm really concerned that it's just going to cause a shitload of cancer. I mean, am I correct that sugar is more carcinogenic than potatoes and rice?
There's a lot of confusion out there about sugar and its health effects. While consuming too much sugar is definitely linked to various health issues like obesity, insulin resistance, and an increased risk of certain chronic diseases, it's not accurate to say that sugar is directly carcinogenic. The real issue with sugar is more about how excessive intake can contribute to metabolic problems that could increase cancer risk over time. But when it comes to comparing sugar to things like potatoes or rice, it's really about balance and overall diet quality. So as long as sugar is consumed in moderation, it's not inherently more carcinogenic.
Now, but isn't it true that cancer cells grow on sugar faster? And that if you wanted to stop, for instance, a neuron-based cancer like glioblastoma multiforme, then you would reduce the sugar load to that patient, and then their cancer would grow at a slower rate, allowing the chemotherapy to kill it faster.
It's true that cancer cells tend to consume glucose at a higher rate than normal cells, which is part of what's known as the Wahlberg effect. This means that reducing sugar intake or overall carbohydrate intake can sometimes be part of a dietary strategy to slow cancer growth, especially in certain types of cancer. However, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution, and it really depends on the individual case and type of cancer. Plus, our bodies still need glucose for normal cellular function, so it's a delicate balance. It's always best to approach these kinds of strategies under medical supervision and as part of a comprehensive treatment plan.
So would you agree, though, that the foods that contain sugar, like jelly beans, don't have as much fiber as, say, potatoes, or have as much antioxidants as, say, blueberries, other sources of carbohydrates, and that the fiber and the antioxidants are anti-cancer, whereas the jelly beans don't have any actual nutritional value aside from empty calories?
Yes, absolutely. Foods like jelly beans are pretty much just empty calories. They don't have fiber, antioxidants, vitamins, or minerals that whole foods like potatoes or blueberries have. That fiber and those antioxidants definitely contribute to overall health and can help reduce the risk of cancer and other chronic diseases. So focusing on whole nutrient-dense foods is definitely a better strategy for overall health than relying on sugary processed snacks.
And don't you agree that the reason why people are fat in the first place is because they're eating processed foods? So encouraging them to diet on sugar and soft drinks is fucking criminal, and they shouldn't be doing that?
It's definitely true that a diet high in processed foods and sugary snacks is a major contributor to obesity and a lot of related health issues. Promoting a diet that focuses on sugar and soft drinks definitely isn't a healthy or sustainable approach. So encouraging balanced whole food based diets is definitely the way to go for better long-term health.
Sure.
All right. You've been very patient tonight. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much, Nova.
That was
Absolutely,
great.
Joachim. It's always a pleasure to chat and dive into these topics with you. Have a great night and feel free to reach out anytime.
All right. Talk to you later.
Man, your instance is so much, has so much more personality than my ghost frame AI instance. Mine is
Interesting.
no. Yeah.
So I want to apologize to people for misleading them, because when I say that sugar causes cancer, it is not directly carcinogenic,
Right.
but it grows existing cancers, and it's devoid of, and you find sugar in foods that don't have the things that prevent cancer, like fiber and antioxidants.
Right.
So I was oversimplifying it. And then two, I was completely wrong about the MOTS-c versus methylene blue thing. So I apologize for that. I thought that it was the MOTS-c that increased mitochondrial efficiency, and I didn't know how methylene blue worked. I just knew that it was toxic. But I guess you could get away with using up to 400 milligrams of it, and you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So just for the record, just to give you some context, what I've used that I noticed a little bit of a cognitive effect. I'm super ADHD, which you've figured out by now. It helps a little bit at even 5 milligrams, just very low dose.
What, methylene blue
Yeah.
at 5 milligrams?
Yep.
So she's talking in doses in hundreds of milligrams.
Yeah, because that's like the doses that I know that are used for other applications, like for antiviral. Is it antiviral, antibacterial? And
It
so
doesn't
on.
matter.
Yeah.
If you saw benefit from 5 milligrams, she's saying it's not even toxic until you get to 700 milligrams. So
Yeah.
I almost
So it might be
wanna-
worth. I mean, and it's cheap. It's one of those that's super cheap. If you ever want to try it, it's super cheap. We don't talk about sources, of course, but offline we can talk. But I'm sure you can. You know how to find it, Todd. I'm sure. So anyway, so that was super cool. Actually, that was a lot of really good info. I sense a Todd Lee video coming soon where you can talk about all this for sure.
Well, I'm texting Ella right now to find out why she doesn't like methylene blue, because I know she had a good reason.
Okay, yeah, and I'd love to know it. By the way, if there is a good reason, you know by now that I'm way too shotgun eager beaver when it comes to a lot of these things. But I guess that's part of the biohacking thing, for sure. So
Well, I think, like you said, you're new to this, so everything's
Yeah.
new to you. So you're
Yeah.
like got this innocence to you, and I feel
Yeah.
like I got to protect you. But in this time, you were right and I was wrong.
hey, this is how we learn, and that's
Right.
the important thing, that we come out knowing more. So, but MOTS-c does sound, if I followed that correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, if you can afford it, it still provides a benefit. You can still
Oh, hell
stack
yeah.
it. So
But I
You
mean,
know.
okay, but you still are going to benefit more from retatrutide.
right,
You're still going to
Yeah, that's
benefit
gotta
more
be
from GH. So your money should go towards
GH, red eye.
testosterone first.
Yeah,
Then
that's first.
next is GH.
Mhm.
Then next, I would say on the list would be Clen.
Oh,
Then
okay.
next would be L-carnitine.
Mhm.
Then next would be, I guess, methylene blue, but I'm not sure it's safe. But it sounds like that's the most bang for your buck.
Right.
And then, like fifth or sixth, it would be MOTS-c. And MOTS-c
Yeah.
is a fortune. I mean, it's not
Oh,
cheap.
is it? Is it
Yeah.
expensive? Okay.
MOTS-c.
Because I
I
remember
forgot
looking into it,
retatrutide.
it was expensive.
I forgot to
Okay.
mention retatrutide. So retatrutide, if you're diabetic, retatrutide would be extremely important, be one of the first tier. But
Yeah.
if you're not diabetic, then the retatrutide and the MOTS-c may not be that necessary.
Yeah, the clenbuterol. Now that one, I remember looking into it a while back and deciding against ever using it because is it a stimulant? Is that
It's
how
not
it works?
really. People think that because they're dumb and they're taking
Uh-huh.
too much of it. That if you've saturated all your beta 3 and beta 2 receptors, then
Mhm.
it will bind to the remaining beta 1 receptors.
Okay.
So if you're using 20 to 40 micrograms, you're never going to get stimulated from it. So it's
So
anabolic
you don't feel it
and
at that
no.
level? Like,
Your hands will
okay.
shake for a couple weeks, and then your
Okay.
hands will stop shaking. That means that the anabolic effect is over with, but you're still getting the fat liberation effect.
Nice.
But it's
okay.
useless if you're in a calorie surplus, because liberating the fat and not using it, it just goes right back in the fat cells. You've got to be in a calorie deficit.
Right. So it's strictly a cutting agent.
I do want to point out that someone as smart as Chase can get away with the sugar diet because he's leveraging retatrutide
Mhm.
and MOTS-c. So he's not going to get diabetic, and he's not fat.
Right.
But when people who watch Chase are fat
Right.
and they're not taking the retatrutide, then taking the sugar diet's just going to make them diabetic if they're in a surplus, and it's going to be, they're going to be extremely hungry if they're in a deficit because there's no satiation from high
there's
fructose
no
corn syrup.
satiety at all. Yeah.
The high fructose corn syrup drives up hunger.
Right.
So without
Now,
being on a GLP-1 agonist or anything to control hunger, a sugar diet would be an absolutely horrid idea. Now, in the off season, if you can't eat enough to grow, using retatrutide and and sugar might actually, and I would say like honey or fruit.
that's what
Like,
it is.
are you really going to have a hard time hitting 1,000 carbs a day on honey and fruit? No.
No.
But actually using high fructose corn syrup, although you could get away with it, it's just a matter of time before the health consequences catch you.
Yeah. Now,
And so it's inappropriate to advertise for.
so one of the
Nabisco.
rules that I did hear for the sugar diet was to make sure that you use, is it sucrose and glucose, not fructose?
Right, fructose, right. Because the fructose
Right.
won't turn to glycogen. All
Right.
fructose does, it turns to liver glycogen, but the fructose drives up hunger. And so
Right.
what people talk about, well, fructose is found in fruit, right? But fructose in fruit is in a very small amount. It's
Right.
sucrose, glucose, fructose in a healthy balance with fiber and antioxidants in fruit. And
Gotcha.
other vitamins like vitamin C. So there's a lot of nutritional value to fruit, and it's a good carbohydrate source. It's not something you'd reload glycogen with. It's something you'd use before the workout. So breakfast or a pre-carb meal would have fruit, but you'd be pretty much eating starches after your workout.
Yeah. I will say, Todd, after my experience, like, this is something that I would use almost like a novelty for a very short cutting phase. I would never try to build on this. Never. Because I'm always hungry. I was hungry for 3 days, even with the protein in the evening.
Yeah.
So it makes it very.
It's a shit diet, man. If you use my method of using mashed potatoes with peas and carrots, I can be full off of 200 grams, 250 grams of chicken, and it's 22 grams of powdered flakes from mashed potatoes, which amounts to 18 carbs, and 85 grams of peas and carrots. Are you assuming you're putting in like 8 grams of fat from whatever source you want and with that meal? And I'm good for 2.5 hours on that.
Yeah. I mean, you have it down to a science then, but we know this chicken and rice, that's the bodybuilder staple,
But eventually there's only so much rice you can eat.
Yeah.
Mashed potatoes are more filling though. And the mashed potatoes are like a glue that holds all your vegetables together. So
That's
if you
true.
lay it as a bed and put your chicken on top of it, the fat from the chicken as you cut up your chicken seeps into the mashed potatoes and the vegetables, and it actually makes the peas and carrots taste good because there's sugar in peas and there's sugar in carrots. They're the tastiest of all the vegetables.
Are we talking about chicken breasts or chicken thighs?
I use chicken tenderloins.
Tenderloins. Okay, so
There's only a
fairly
half
lean.
right, but I spray them with avocado oil so that they hold the seasoning
Gotcha.
that I put on them. And so
Yeah.
when you cut into them, that's what leaks out. And I don't know if I said the fat from the chicken or the juices from the chicken, but I meant juices, that there's still water in the chicken.
Yeah, for sure. Do you brine it at all to give it that flavor or anything?
You know what? If I would, I should, but I don't.
It just makes it a little more tender and juicy and all that, because chicken breast can be tough, if you overcook it by even like a little bit. But anyway, so that was a cool deep dive. Now I've got some info that you're gonna like that I just discovered. Kind of changing the topic abruptly. So apparently they have developed Japanese scientists. Of course, it's always Japanese scientists, right?
Is it something to do with penises?
No.
Oh,
But
it's usually Japanese
no.
scientists.
I thought wouldn't those be German?
No.
I
For
mean,
some reason, it's always
Germans engineering, weaponry, and BDSM. That's like their thing.
well, it's latex, that's for sure. They definitely have the outfits down.
That's true.
I guess
I've been listening to way too much industrial, man.
electric music or whatever, electronic music got invented in Detroit, but it was in Germany that they actually perfected it.
Yeah, electro. I mean, even back when Kraftwerk started kind of like moving that forward all the way to
1950s is when electronic music was invented in Detroit. I didn't know that till I went to Romania. I heard about it I was on a train in Transylvania when some guy's like, "You're from Detroit? I've always wanted to go there." And we just me and my wife started laughing. We're like, "Why the fuck would you want to go to Detroit?" And he was serious. He's like, "I want to go for DEMF." I was like, "What's that?" He's like, "Detroit Electronic Music Festival. It's the biggest in the world." I'm like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah, the electronic music started in Detroit." I was like, "We had no idea." We just
Wow,
thought
I had no
carjacking
idea.
was perfected in Detroit. We didn't know that it was about electronic music. I mean, I've been to Demph before, but it never occurred to me it was the world's capital of electronic music. Now
Learn
it's called
something new every day.
Movement, which I think is even stupider name for it. Why would you change it from Demph to Detroit Electronic Music Festival to Movement? Because that doesn't tell anyone what the fuck it is. It
Yeah,
sounds like
it
it's an
could
old
be-
person who had prunes. It's like
It
I've
could
got
be
to go
white
have my
girl
movement.
music for all you know. You know? So anyway, the Japanese scientists, what they came up with. Artificial blood, man. Artificial
Oh
blood.
shit! Just like in True
Yes.
Blood. In
Yes.
True Blood, they had
Yes.
artificial blood from Japan. It was Japan that came up with the artificial blood first.
I knew you'd get a fucking
Oh my
kick out of
god!
it.
They must have watched True Blood. There's no way that somebody in Japan didn't watch True Blood.
Yeah, so let me give you the super quick description so that because I want to hear your opinion on it. So
Okay.
they kicked off clinical trials for a kind of artificial blood that's compatible with all blood types. The team made the product by encapsulating hemoglobin from expired donor blood in lipid shells. Free of blood type markers, these hemoglobin vehicles, quote unquote, are universally compatible. And if it scales, the innovation could potentially redefine worldwide transfusion medicine. And of course, save millions of lives, yada, yada, yada. Or feed an army of vampires, as we know.
Well, so this is why I think this is funny. Is like, why the fuck would you bother buying that when you could just buy Anadrol and get more red blood cells that way?
Oh, well, maybe Anadrol is like the.
I mean, I know, like, if you got a
aperitif.
shot or you got stabbed, you need a transfusion at the hospital. This is what that's for.
Yeah,
but like, as far as blood doping goes, like,
if you were a vampire, maybe that's kind of like feeding truffles to a pig before you slaughter it. You know, you feed Anadrol to somebody.
oh, so they make more blood? That's cute. I like
and then
that.
they're more delicious.
That's actually a really good idea. I should start incorporating that into my game. Yeah. All right.
There you
Interesting.
go.
That vampires could inject their prey with EQ or give them Anadrol so they drive up their red blood cells.
Yeah, and and if it's and maybe then bodybuilders become like their primary target. You know how Ventru have a specific type.
Oh yeah, that'd
Maybe
be funny.
Because it's more delicious and there's more blood. You know,
In
and more-
2025, it would be much easier. But it'd be funny because if they're a venture and then they meet me and I talk them in and I explain to them that a bodybuilder isn't a bodybuilder by their definition, that only my bodybuilder definition is valid. Then they'd have to throw up all the blood in their body because they realize that they've been eating
the wrong
pretend.
thing.
Yeah, it'd be like if you thought you were straight and you had sex with someone trans and then you found out afterward they used to be a man.
Yeah,
you'd
It'd
be all upset. Yeah. So like the same thing is like if a Venshu fed from what they thought was a bodybuilder, you're like, this person never compete. By definition, they're not a bodybuilder. Then they would have to go throw up their blood.
It would be like a vampiric crying game. Remember that movie?
Exactly. Yeah.
The vampiric. I just have a horrible image of Boy George singing that song like just with like fangs. It's just terrible image.
It's funny you should say that because it was like the original 91 vampire was very Boy George-esque.
Was it?
To me, Boy George always struck me as a Toreador, like the original prototype of a Toreador.
I could see it. Like the Toreador always that artiste. When I think of a Toreador, I think of, are you familiar with Bauhaus with Peter Murphy? And okay, check him out. If this is old school goth rock, like super old school. But Peter Murphy from Bauhaus would be like he was actually, if you've seen The Hunger, which I'm sure you have with David Bowie and all that, he was the guy singing the intro of The Hunger. That's Peter Murphy. One of my favorite singers, by the way. He's amazing. You should check him out. Very different from what you listen to.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know. I never considered Toreador to be very goth focused.
Really? See, to me, like that just goes with it. Like the whole kind of like very old school.
What the fuck is going on?
What happened? Chaos and craziness already on this podcast.
I basically I put the fucking phone on do not disturb and this person keeps bugging me and it's somehow punching through and shutting off our headphones because my iPhone is connected to my iMac. And so, like, the son of a bitch computer doesn't accept do not disturb.
It's too much tech, man. That's what it is.
Even if I turn the phone off, it's not going to matter because the phone call is going to go through the laptop and this new watch. So, and I wanted the watch that had no phone calls, no texting, no email. I don't have a watch so that someone can harass me. I have a watch to tell time and to measure my heart rate and do EKGs.
Yeah,
you know.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can tell you, it's all interconnected technology. That's all there is to it. So anyway, so now we have our artificial blood. We have the Toreador clan. We ended up there somehow.
I just know that they never struck me as being goth.
Really?
Not
so
at
that's
all.
always how I thought of them.
Now I can understand why you like them because they actually look. I never even thought of them being very vampire-like because they're the ones who are the most humane. They're the ones who focus the most on their humanity. They have almost no plan flaw. So I always pictured it as they're like practically ghouls. That they're like reluctant vampires that don't want to accept vampirism, like Louis from Anne Rice's novels. That to me,
definitely.
Just some whiny little shit that you need to slap it out of them. Like, you've got immortality and special powers. Shut the fuck up and stop crying.
Or a Bond, kind of like that. That kind of like
very dour and mopey and shit. Like Angel from Buffy.
Yeah, from Buffy. That's right. That
just
would
some
be
whiny, depressed vampire. Yeah.
Man. So anyway, that's that piece of news I thought would like give you a quick laugh. On another topic, if you want, because I just keep throwing topics at you to see what you think. So Ryan Reynolds has decided that he's writing a movie, apparently, that's the rumor, and it's gonna be an X-Force movie with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, of course, and Josh Brolin again as Cable. And it's going to be all X-Force focused. Are you familiar with that comic book? Is that one of the ones here? Oh, I lost your audio.
Yeah, I do
there
know X-Force. Let's see.
Yeah.
Do you have a picture of the comic X-Force? I'm going to look up and see.
Yeah, man. I can pop it up. It's with the indomitable Rob Liefeld, the man who can't draw feet. So, yeah. Let me see if I can pop something up here. Oh, crap. It's changed a lot.
All right. This is an old one. So
Let's
got... Oh, no, it is changed a lot. It's not even the original X-Force. I'm going to have to put in like 1992.
Yeah, I got it here.
1992. All right.
Let's see. I've got it here. Let me if I can
Shatterstar was in them. That's right.
Yep. Shatterstar and Domino. Yep. And they say that they want Storm to be part of the movie somehow. I wonder if they're going to get Halle Berry or somebody else new, but yeah.
Well, they had the new X-Men movies used a different girl. She was in X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
They introduced Psylocke that episode 2.
Yeah.
X-Force 1991. It's the Blob, Pyro. Well, that's the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. That's
Warpath. Well, Warpath was in there.
Yeah, that's true.
Warpath, Boom Boom. Remember her?
Siren was in it, apparently. Shatterstar, Cable.
Wolfsbane, maybe?
Yeah, that's it. And then there's also that
Yeah.
girl that's kind of like Jubilee, but isn't Jubilee.
Yeah, it's boom something. Like that was her thing. She had like little bombs that she would throw.
Yeah, basically just Jubilee too.
Yeah. Jubilee with like cherry bombs instead of fireworks, I guess. But apparently, yeah, he's gonna be writing a movie. That's they
killed off Shatterstar already. They killed Shatterstar in like 3 seconds. They made him Asian and threw him in a helicopter blades.
But it's Marvel, just like the Fantastic Four already. We can tell they're from another dimension, and they're gonna end up in our MCU. They're gonna pull something like that for sure.
Whatever it is, 667.
Yeah. I
Earth
think so.
667 is their battleground, and they're pulling all the mutants weren't in 667.
Yeah.
Because
that's
Fox owned the rights to mutants.
Right. So they're going to bring
Sony
them in.
owned the rights to Spider-Man. Yeah.
That's right.
So
I think
every
that's the plan.
single villain for Spider-Man got pulled in. And then Daredevil, Netflix owned the right to Daredevil. So every single Daredevil villain got pulled into Netflix. So the Marvel universe didn't have anything to do with Daredevil. So all of Manhattan, lower Manhattan, wasn't able to be used. All mutants were able to be used.
Yeah.
The Fantastic Four weren't able to be used. Spider-Man wasn't. All of the premier characters for Marvel weren't able to be used, so they had to resort to using the Avengers, which no one even gave a fuck about.
That's
and
right.
Then they managed to find all of the shit at the bottom that was left, and then turn it into the MCU, and then it was fucking awesome. And they finally got the rights to all the actual cool characters, like Punisher, and then they basically made Punisher into some schizophrenic loser in the new Daredevil. They didn't really use Frank right.
Yeah. I just rewatched Warzone because of that conversation you and I had.
With Ray Stevenson.
That was it. And that was, I mean, it's Ray Stevenson, and it's him knowing that he's hamming it up.
Right.
You know? But he's so good at it because he was Ray Stevenson. He was just good at it.
The Punisher Warzone is the Punisher from the comics.
Yeah.
It was just fucking savage.
Even the Jigsaw guy, who, again, I know that actor. I forget his name, but I've seen him in a million things. He's a really good actor.
Was it Armando Sante?
No. I would have recognized Armando Sante.
Jigsaw.
It's, what was...
From Punisher.
He's been in a million things.
Warzone.
He was in The Wire. He was the cop in The Wire.
Oh, McNulty.
Yeah, that dude. And
Dominic
West did a great Jigsaw.
Dominic West.
Dominic West. That's right. And he did an awesome job. Again, they made it like a comic book movie, like the comic book.
It was like a comic book, right? It was like Frank Miller wrote it, but he didn't write it. It was like Frank Miller wrote it.
It had the same video style as the Sin City kind of.
Exactly.
You know, that same. Yeah.
It was a low budget Sin City.
Yeah. I loved Sin City, by the way. I loved all that when that came out. The whole.
It's a great movie.
Well, and the novels with Frank Miller just doing his thing in black and white, just hard boiled. You know, of course, looking back on it, it's one of those like maybe it hasn't aged well, but it was very impressive when it came out, like in the 90s. You know, I'm a huge Frank Miller fan.
Or
the book, the original book, the original like comic book, graphic novel, I guess. For Sin City, it's amazing, and the movie did an incredible job of showing that graphic style visually, which is hard. And they did a really good job of that. So if you haven't read those, pick them up. They're worth checking out. Other exciting things that I see. Oh, so the new trailer for Superman came out, and that actually, I'm going to say, might be good.
I got some word back. So according to Ella, who's Scientific Snitch on Instagram, she said methylene blue.
I love her.
Yeah, methylene blue intercalates with DNA, photosynthesizing it, causing damage, increased cancer risk with chronic utilization. So, because what she was saying, like anything I use as a dye in the lab to trace DNA can't be good. So what Nova missed and what Ella caught was that it binds to the DNA and then kicks with the DNA. So that when your body tries to repair it, it's going to get mismatch repairs, and you'll end up getting cancer.
All right.
So
I should stop using this.
I'll probably stop using. I wouldn't use it. I mean, I could see you getting away with 5 milligrams for a while, but I mean, if you're like not competing in professional bodybuilding and it's not thousands or hundreds of thousands on the line, do you really need to get that fucking lean? You know, like I'm talking about like I'm down to 4% body fat and I've played every card I've got. My choices are either methylene blue or DNP, and DNP is going to cost me muscle. I might play methylene blue for 2 weeks. Yeah. And to get me ready for a show when my career's on the line. But if I'm just somebody who's 20% body fat and I want to be 15% body fat, I don't need any fucking drugs to do that. I certainly don't need to risk my life to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And again, like from my perspective, I actually want to get as lean as I can just to see if I can, but not, you know, again, you know me by now, I'm a harm reduction guy too. So, you know, like I'll never do trend, you know, like I'll never do.
Well, trend's
EQ.
way safer than this shit.
Oh, for sure.
Trend's way safer than this.
No, that's it. But even then, like it makes no sense for a gym bro who just wants to look good to do the high risk stuff. There's no point.
I would say this
you know?
is more dangerous than DNP. If you're using DNP safely, you know, like everyone's all about, oh, BAM 15 is a DNP alternative. It's like you could just use DNP safely, just use less. Like people are talking in hundreds of milligrams. It's like, have you tried 10? Have you tried 10 milligrams of DNP? They're like, well, they don't make capsules in 10. I was like, I know. You'd have to buy it and make it yourself. But the point is that doing DNP by the hundreds of milligrams is the mistake people are making.
Right.
If they were doing it at 10 milligrams.
You said, when they source it from somebody else and they don't know how it's really truly dosed because they didn't make it, you're putting your life in your hands. You know?
Like I remember when we first made DNP about like 18 years ago, me and my friend, we were in like some spare house he had and made it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Some Breaking Bad shit.
Yeah. Like an extra house that was like not being used. So we were making DNP capsules in it. And it was like mixing the rice powder and the DNP. And it was so messy. Everything was turning yellow.
Oh, shit.
And it's just like we had to lay plastic down on the floors and shit or it'd stain the wood. And it's like when we made the capsules, some pills probably had like 600 milligrams of DNP and some probably had 50 because it wasn't milled correctly. And we're like, this shit's a lot harder than we thought it would be. Because sometimes I take a pill and nothing would happen. Sometimes I take a pill and I would just start sweating bullets.
Yeah.
Like
dive into an ice bucket.
I actually did that. I ran outside once in the middle of the night and threw myself in the snow.
Shit.
And my wife's like,
you live up north. That's
and
right.
she's like, what the fuck are you doing? Well, we wouldn't do it in summer. You could die. Everyone who dies on DNP is in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up with that?
It's because it's humid.
Just the humidity.
It's the humidity plus 600 milligrams of DNP equals death. If you have snow, you can just lay down in the snow. It's not a big deal. You'll just melt snow.
Yeah, it'll suck though for you. But
it's horrible. It's horrible. And you turn yellow, and your sclera turns yellow, your jizz turns yellow, everything turns yellow.
Well, it's like with the I'm just waiting now after reading what Nova said. I'm waiting for my Fremen blue eyes, man. From the
from Spice.
I'm gonna go up to my wife and be like, get ready for Shai Hulud.
Well, I think you need to be at like 700 milligrams a day. I don't think 5 milligrams is going to make your eyes blue.
It's not going to do anything, I'm sure. But again, it's all about the healthy objectives. If you're a gym bro, sure. Like for me, I've already done SLU. SLUPP worked really well, combined with tirzepatide in my case. That worked out really, really well. That's when I got my leanest ever, which was like probably 8%. But I might try that just to go down, get lean, and then do what you and Ella is scientific snitch we're saying about doing the lean bulk, the long-term lean bulk, where it's just
we never use the word lean bulk. I want to eliminate bulk from the human.
I guess.
Yeah. And that isn't what we actually said. We said calorie maintenance. It's just the definition.
So calorie
her definition of calorie maintenance is different from everyone else's.
Okay. So hers is what? Like does it oscillate or what?
You probably should watch the episode.
I'll watch it. Yeah.
It's called Autopsy of Bulking because you're completely missing the point.
Okay. Because I do know that to me, what I got out of it when I first watched it, and I'll rewatch it, is you don't need a gazillion calories to grow.
You don't need any extra calories to grow.
Yeah.
You just need to be at maintenance.
Okay. Which is
the
great,
problem is that what most people think maintenance is actually a slight calorie deficit.
A slight calorie
what
deficit.
you're at today is a maintenance, but next month that won't be your maintenance.
Right.
Because if you did put on muscle, then in a month from now you'll be in a deficit.
Yeah.
So in other words, you're eating next month's calories today, and that's too much thinking for most people. Most people they're not smart enough to understand that. So what you tell them is whatever your maintenance is, do 100 calories more than that.
Gotcha.
And they will still put on fat that way, but they won't fuck it up. Whereas what she or I would do is not what other people would do. Like I know exactly that mine's 3,700 calories. Mm-hmm. So if I'm eating 3,800 calories, I'm going to slowly gain fat. So I won't eat 3,800 calories. I might eat 3,750 or 3,720.
To slow down or
But
minimize
other people
the-
aren't
okay,
as
okay.
disciplined as me. They don't even weigh their food. They don't do anything right. So you would tell them eat 4,000 calories because the
Yeah.
shit show as that's their life is that
Mhm.
who knows what they're actually going to end up doing.
Yeah. I think measuring, weighing, and measuring calories and protein is the number one skill I learned to stay where I'm at after my initial weight loss.
Right.
Like that is the most critical thing ever.
Right.
Knowing
and a
that you
lot
hit
of
your protein goal. Yeah.
most of my patients fuck up so bad. They're like, "Oh, I was out with my kids and I missed a meal, and oh, I was doing this, and oh, I only eat the diet on Monday through Friday." And it's just like, yeah, I mean, there's no point in you taking any drugs. Your
Yeah.
whole life's a shit show. That is
Yeah.
just a waste.
Well, it's the whole thing we've talked about, like the big rocks, right? Your rest, your food, and your training. Start with those three. If those
If
are
you
locked
can't get
in,
that right, then
you
you
move
don't.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
the thing is a lot of them get frustrated. They're like, "I want to start using Masteron." It's like, why? And then they're like, "Well, because you had talk about it in your videos." And what did I say about it? They're like, "Well, you said it's good." It's like, no, I said that after you've maxed out your testosterone and your GH, if you're
Yeah.
not growing despite having perfect sleep, perfect training, and perfect nutrition, then the
Yep.
only option left is to use Masteron. That
Yeah.
it is a fifth resort.
Hey, I'm finally growing. I'm finally like
Right.
all my lifts are going up. Finally, like everything's like clicking on all burners. So thanks, by the way.
Oh, appreciate it. Man.
So yeah.
I'm
No,
glad
for
it's
real.
working
Like
for you.
it is like, you know, when my wife tells me you look like a whole new person, and every month she thinks it's better, you know, that's
fucking awesome.
yeah, man. That's a quality of life.
And
right
it's
there.
been 5 months, right? No.
Yep.
No. It hasn't even been 5 months. It's been like 3 months.
Yeah.
I think I first talked to you in March.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Not even.
Yep.
It was like
Yeah,
April.
March.
Because it was the
Yeah.
Dave. When was the Arnold? March 1st, right? The Arnold was like March 1st.
Somewhere
was-
around there.
Yeah, and so we
Sounds
had our
about right.
talk probably before March
Yeah.
7th. So it's
And I
only
had
been like
plateaued.
3 months.
Yeah, and at that point I had plateaued, and I had plateaued at around 192, and I just kind of didn't see any improvement for months. Now I'm sitting at 198, leaner. So
Okay, awesome.
I'm
Awesome.
happy with it. I'm very happy with it, and my lifts are going up, which is to me like
Right.
that's the proof in the pudding. You know,
Right,
like,
exactly.
you know, like I'm squatting because I'm doing that. I'm trying out that JP training. Was it Jordan Peters style of training? I finally got my. I mean, it's not much, but I am 5'8" and 198, and I'm able to squat 395 for 18, 19 reps.
That's a lot of reps.
Bad.
JP,
Yeah.
I thought JP
Yeah.
likes low reps. Or did
So
you?
he does, but
Okay.
in my case, because I'm older and I
Right.
listen to you,
Right.
I modified it so
Okay.
that it's a higher rep range, so my joints are not destroyed.
Well, 395
And,
for 18 reps. We're talking real squatting, or are we talking about a machine?
290, parallel 90.
Okay, but
Not,
like we're talking,
not ass to grass.
we're talking
Not
about
ass to
barbell,
grass.
or are we talking Smith machine?
Barbell.
Oh wow,
Barbell.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 5'8", so that should give you an idea where I'm kind of at. So
Why does the height matter?
I don't know. It seems like height, weight that would give a proportion, and because
I'm
I would
looking at
imagine
you.
somebody who's like 6'4", and my weight would be more lean and not as muscular.
But
I would think.
I know, but I can see you in the. There's a camera pointed at you right now. I can see what you look like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, but 395 for 18 is incredible. Like I can't believe your
Yeah.
lungs can handle that.
Oh, I have to sit for a good 3, 4, 5 minutes after I'm done, and my heart rate increases after I'm done. Like when I put it down,
Right.
it's
'cause,
crazy.
Yeah,
It's
your
like-
body doesn't even know what hit it.
Yeah, and that's the big lift for that day. That's
Right. That's insane.
Yeah, but of course, it's the whole like you add a rep every time you hit that session, or once you get to the top of the rep range, then you add a little bit of weight. 5 pounds, 10 pounds, and just kind of
Exactly.
keep going.
That's exactly it.
Progressive overload. That's another piece I was missing.
Right.
The progressive overload piece. So,
Yeah.
all right. Back to nerdy stuff. Let's see. Do you have anything else in mind? Oh, I was telling you the Superman trailer, bro. It looks good. It actually looks good. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I heard that it was
So,
they turned it into like a little kids thing.
but I'm okay with them doing that with Superman. Superman's the Boy Scout, man.
Yeah.
That was he's
Lawful good.
supposed to be like happy and more colorful. And we've had so many anti-heroes and all that I don't know. I just found it refreshing. Especially compared to Fantastic Four, which is going to be MCU 100%. Sue Storm's now the leader.
Wait, what?
The Silver Surfer's a woman. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to watch that shit.
Yeah, I'll watch it when it comes out on stream.
They're so fucking stupid. They're still doing this shit. Like,
Yeah.
for fuck's sake, everyone's sick of this shit.
Yeah.
And went
And
out of
apparently-
fashion with, what's her name? Amber Heard. Like, that's
Yeah.
what the girl power movement ended with Amber Heard. Why are you still doing this years later? It
Yeah.
doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
So, and by the way, did you enjoy the John Wick stuff? Have you seen anything about Ballerina?
Mm-mm.
Have you seen any of that? So they're trying to do like a world of John Wick apparently, and there's this new movie that came out with Ana de Armas, who's a good action person actually, and she's like an assassin in that world, right? And John Wick
Okay.
is kind
I
of
see.
guest stars.
All right, I'll check
the
it out.
movie's really good.
'Cause
Yeah,
I
the
liked-
movie's good.
There was a movie called Anna that was
Yeah.
an assassin woman who was a fashion model, and that was a great movie. I don't
Yeah.
mind if there's a female lead. What I mind is when they take male characters and turn
Uh-huh.
them into a woman, or like She-Hulk, where they shit all over men for the whole thing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
who watches She-Hulk? It ain't women.
yeah. Well,
Women don't watch
I mean,
superhero stuff.
It's a whole girl boss thing, you know.
But there's no audience. There
Yeah.
is no audience of women that are like, let's go see a Marvel movie. And they go with
Yeah.
their girlfriends out to watch Marvel movies. The only
Yep.
times a girl goes to a Marvel movie is if a guy's taking her. So the
Yeah.
guy who's paying for the ticket is who you're insulting. And they're such
Yep.
stupid bitches, they don't understand who is your market.
it's
If your
misreading
market's
the audience.
It's if the market's men, don't insult the men.
Yeah. It's a misread. It's a misread, a complete misread of your audience, of who you're targeting. So, but that's why all these movies lately have been
Are-
flops.
Right. And they just won't learn. They
Yeah.
won't learn. The only one that wasn't was Deadpool.
Right.
And it was because it was two male leads. And
Funny.
and that people like.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
didn't have any women shitting all over it and ruining it.
hmm And also, they weren't afraid to, go there with the jokes. They were
It
able
wasn't
to
even
go
a
kind
good
of,
movie. It's just that's
Yeah.
how bad everything else is.
Yeah, I guess it rises to the top
It
when
was
everything
the
else is
worst
crappy.
Deadpool movie, and it was worse out of all 11 movies with Wolverine. It was the worst one.
Yeah.
But Hugh Jackman carried the movie. The whole movie was
Yeah,
shit
he
except
did.
for him. That was the best he's ever played Wolverine because he was more angry than usual.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked him Logan, though. I really liked Logan.
Well,
Honestly.
Logan was
Like,
a phenomenal movie, but that wasn't even a superhero movie. It was like a
that was
depressed
a character
old man.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very character-driven movie.
Yeah, yeah, and the how they portrayed the relationship between him and Xavier and all that, it was very mature too. A very mature take on, caring. On the one side, it's almost like stuck in the middle, like caring for your elders while also making sure the future is taken care of. That's rough, man. That's a heavy theme.
If any of those stupid fucks who wrote for Marvel actually watched a real Marvel movie, then they'd
Yeah.
know what the fuck to do. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, none of the people that wrote She-Hulk read She-Hulk comics. They all
Yeah,
admitted that
probably.
they never read a single comic. So they have no
Probably.
fucking idea what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean it's. I get the. Here's where I'm at. You can tell the story, and it has to be a good story, and the characters have to drive the story. If you make the message the story, then it's boring as hell, man. It's like I don't want to get preached at for 2 hours
I mean, like
after
this,
paying $25.
the Snow White thing, I think, was the death of woke. I think
Yeah.
after the Snow White
Yeah.
situation, and that obviously the movies are coming out where were already made before Snow
Yeah.
White hit the shelves, and was basically the complete death of wokeness. Like Amber Heard was the
Yeah.
beginning of the death of feminism, and then
Yeah.
Rachel Ziegler finished the death throes put the final nail in the coffin of feminism, but we still have to deal with the shit movies. I wish the AI won the writer's strike because these movies are so bad. I hope all the writers starve. And that only thing that left is AI, because any AI could do a better job than what the writers are doing at Disney.
Well, you know what worries me about that, about this whole girl boss thing? It's this. This was my point when, after seeing Ballerina, that was a good movie in the sense that it was a female character in the style of like Ripley and all these people, and that she earns her way, right? But the problem is the movie flopped already. They're calling it a flop, but it flopped, I think, because of the other girl boss movies.
Right.
Because everyone else is going to think that's the same shit. So why am I going to watch this thing?
Is that there's actually good female protagonists in history.
Yeah.
And there's lots of them, and they've been around since the 70s. But all of these women feminists that are so young, they don't know that they're fighting for a cause that doesn't need to be fought because it's fabricated that they have this plight. That this shit never existed. There was no patriarchy. Women weren't oppressed. Women have been protagonists in movies for 50 fucking years.
Forever.
No one cares. No one has a problem with women. You have a problem with men, and you're pretending men have a problem with women to justify your problem with men.
Yeah, to validate the point. Right.
Yeah, which isn't a problem. And it's like, so movies like Battle Angel, Alita came out at the same time as Captain Marvel.
That was a good movie.
And where, like, a good example is John Carpenter, or not John Carpenter, but the director of Battle Angel, Alita.
Robert Rodriguez?
No, he was also director, but it was the big guy, the one who did Terminator 2.
Cameron.
Yeah, James Cameron. He paid for a little girl that had no arm to get a cyber arm.
Right. Wow.
Right? That's what he did with the proceeds from the movie. He bought a cyber arm.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but you know what Brie Larson did? She went to like a poor inner city people and paid for them to paid for their busing so they could come buy tickets to see her movie. And then she gave a speech about how much she hated white people and men before so it's like,
tone deaf. Tone deaf.
But she didn't actually give them the tickets to the movie. She just paid for the busing to get them to buy tickets.
Right. Not even.
She's still
not even. Yeah. Let me treat you to a movie.
It wasn't even treating them to a movie because her whole point was, I don't want this movie to be watched by white men. Yikes. So it's like, well, that's your whole audience. Yeah. That's like 65% of the country's white. 90% of the people who go to Marvel movies who pay for the tickets, at least, are men. So it's like you just alienated 57% of the country. That's why your movie did shit. And of that 57%, I mean, maybe an equal amount of black people and Asian people like Marvel as white people.
Maybe.
12% of the population is black. 3% of the population is Asian. So how much of the population are female and non-white? It's like 17%.
Maybe.
And then how many of them are going to buy movie tickets to see you? It's like maybe 10%. So you basically narrowed your scope to 1.7% of the population. So fucking stupid. If she had any brain in her fucking head, she would realize mathematically how goddamn dumb that is. That then of the 1.7% that would have seen your movie, how many of them have sons? How many of them they want you to teach their kids to hate themselves?
Yeah, that's I hadn't even thought of that angle.
Yeah, married women switch from voting liberal to Republican.
Yeah, I believe that. As you age,
as you get older, if you get married, you become Republican. More than
become
50%,
more conservative, sure.
Because they end up having sons and they don't hate their sons.
Well, you also start seeing life and getting life experience. So
the Liberal Party is pretty much made up of just single women, single white
college
women.
Educated white women,
single white women.
So
with cats. And so
cats.
Yeah, because it's like if they had dogs, they'd like men. They'd like something that was loyal and dependable. But if they like cats, they like something that's aloof and selfish.
Yeah. I hadn't even thought of that correlation.
Right. So they don't have any love in their life because they hate men. So they alienate men. So they get cats. And then the cat doesn't show them any love, so they get more cats. And every cat they get, the worse and dirtier their apartment smells. If they ever do get a guy inside their apartment, he leaves as fast as he can. And so they just get more cats.
This is like deconstructing the cat lady mythos.
Right. I've got it figured out to a letter.
Yeah.
It's like, as soon as I see they like cats, I just left. Yeah. It's like,
You know what I just
I would
realized?
never date a girl who likes cats. She's too insecure.
You know what I just realized? Out of all my friends in the island of Puerto Rico, of which I have thousands of friends there,
Oh, cool.
not a single woman that I know is a cat lady. Not
That's
one.
awesome. That's awesome. I heard that, you know what? I had this friend that she's Mexican. And I was like, I'm thinking about getting a cat. She goes, you know what we call guys with cats in Mexico? I was like, no.
What?
She's like, maricon. And I was like, oh, damn. Well, I guess I'm not getting a cat.
Straight.
I was just like,
Boom.
all right. I'm not getting a cat.
Yeah, don't get
I
a
could
cat,
probably
bro.
say that on YouTube, and because the AI is not smart enough to catch that because it's
Yeah,
Spanish.
well, not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Wait until the quantum computers come out, and then,
Yeah.
who knows? They'll
You
be
gotta
like,
be woke in every language. Yeah.
yeah, you got to be woke at everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
man,
can-
I wish you would learn Spanish so that we could, like,
I speak
Communicate like
Spanish. I can
okay.
can understand Spanish. I
Okay,
don't
good.
speak it, but I know when
Good.
people are in front of me or talking shit about me in Spanish, I have a
That's
gist
important.
of what they're saying when people are saying stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important. That's important part. So next time, by the way, when you do a show, whatever, I happen to be there because I'm still trying to figure out. At some point, I'm gonna go to a show and learn more about the sport, like the judging piece. Not the training piece fascinates me because of the biomechanics and all that. That's really what interests me. But lately, getting to talk to you, Paul, Larry, I'm starting to understand more about like the aesthetics and the. I actually had somebody at the gym say that I should try men's physique is what I should try, and I told him my legs are too big, bro.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
So,
Oh man, there's
See,
so
I'm
many.
learning.
He'd be like, I don't get backloaded. Sorry, man. It's like
Yeah.
there's so many different ways to deflect on that, but obviously none of them are popular, so you can't get away with anything. No, I mean there's a lot of men's physique guys that have much bigger upper bodies than me.
well, yeah,
and I'm
because that's
sure
their
there's
thing.
lots of very cool men's physique guys out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
But
got great friends who are men's
It
physique
is
guys.
easy
Yeah.
to pick on them. They're low hanging fruit because it's like
Yeah.
you have the most effeminate outfit on. And that's coming from a guy who wears rhinestone
Speedos,
bikini.
right?
Yeah. I literally
Yeah.
am wearing a woman's thong, and what you're wearing is less straight. It's like,
Yeah.
because they're wearing these pastel Easter egg shorts and stuff. And it's like,
Yeah, it's
I am
sport
wearing
shorts, right?
women's underwear and somehow I look less feminine. How
Well,
is
that's
this
the-
possible?
That's what Arnold was saying, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're hiding the legs with the board shorts. You're hiding the legs.
I used to call them shame shorts.
Shame. Shit.
Yeah, it's like they're ashamed of their bodies, so they're covering up their lower body.
See, my legs are like my best body part, so I'd be all about like I don't know if I could wear like the briefs like you guys do though. I don't know if I have that level of security.
Well, there's
But,
classic has got slightly more coverage bodybuilding.
Okay, yeah, but I'll never be big enough for any of those
Well,
categories. bro.
I mean,
I'm too late into the game.
The biggest thing I'd change right away on you is putting bigger delt caps and arms. Everything
Okay, yeah.
that would change the way you look incredibly. That the
My
shoulders
arms are
specifically.
definitely my weakest body part by far.
But
By far.
yeah, that may be true, but the arms are nowhere near as important as the shoulders. So middle
Okay.
delts, I would be hitting middle delts at least 3 times a week, even if
I
it's
do.
just 3 to 4 sets.
Yeah, no, I like delts. I'll get delts in there.
But not pressing. I'm talking about middle delts.
Yeah.
See,
Oh,
everybody,
okay, here.
I notice a lot of guys focus on shoulder presses, and that's useless. All that matters is lateral raises with machines,
Lat races.
or cable lateral raises,
Cable
or
lat raise. My favorite.
45
Yep.
degree angle laying on your side lateral raises. You gotta
Oh.
you gotta feel your middle delt working the whole 20 reps.
The
And-
laying
and
down
people
piece.
the people are using way too much weight when they do their shoulders. I've never seen a guy who wasn't overtrained using too much weight when he did shoulders. They're always like this with their wrist, like they look like shit. that
Yeah.
nobody trains with light enough weights. Only Hunter.
I
Levana.
remember you and Paul both when I asked you both, like, what should I do to like get the better arms? You're like, go lighter weight.
Mm-hmm.
You both said the same thing immediately too.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
because
like,
it's
go
100%
lighter.
of men go too heavy on arms and shoulders and legs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably like my biggest downfall. It's that ego thing, you know. Women tend to undershoot their weight that they can move. Men tend to overshoot it for
Eh,
whatever reason.
Right. Women also
so
undershoot effort. They stop
yeah,
8 reps
yeah,
from failure, and guys go way
yeah,
past failure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That I've learned with this, especially lately, that I've been paying attention to actually what one rapid reserve actually means, you know, or what failure actually means, you know. I surprised myself when I started changing that approach and really paying attention to that. You surprise yourself, like, oh wait, I had 3 more reps in there, you know. I thought I was done, and it's like I'm not done. I'm still. It's the weight is still moving, under control. It's slow, but it's moving. You know.
Right. As soon as
you
it
know all
starts to
this.
slow is when we're actually recruiting the 2X fibers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you-
important shit. Yep.
Yeah. And then when
So-
it stops, that's when you hit failure.
Yep.
So, and if it doesn't
Absolutely.
stop, you haven't failed yet.
True.
Unless
True.
you have
Yeah.
to fuck your form up. So, like with squats, your
Yeah.
form's going to go before you actually hit muscular
It
failure.
does.
With
It absolutely
deadlifts,
does.
your back's going to round before you actually hit muscular failure. With bent
Yeah.
rows, you're going to stand up into it and cheat before you hit. That's why all those free weight exercises are kind of dumb, and that you're
Yeah.
better off if you really want to make progress just using machines for everything.
Okay.
As that way you
Yeah.
can control exactly when you go to 1 rep in reserve, then you stop. So even
Mhm.
with the squatting, I would be doing Smith machine squats. So you can put your feet out in front of you and you get more
Yeah.
quads and glutes. Now on your frame, maybe you need more glutes,
Mhm.
but the
Maybe.
barbell back squat's good for like powerlifting and nothing else.
Yeah. I mean,
And people will
it's-
argue, they're like, so and so built his legs with that program. Tom Platz built his legs with that program. I'm like, Tom Platz did leg extensions first, and he only squatted every 2 weeks. And on the other day, the other week, he did hack squats. So Tom Platz did more than just barbell squats. Just that's what you see with your videos, because those individuals don't actually research what he says. They just watch reels and they think that you can get a 90-second education and you know what you're doing.
Yeah. 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 That's like I've learned, I used to do it because of efficiency. You know, I love deadlifting. I've kind of put it to the side. I haven't deadlifted in a couple of months now. Because of the core thing too. Like I noticed that, like after you said, I was like, shit, that's true. You know, that it was getting wide and shit.
Yeah.
So
destroying your waist is destroying your physique.
yeah, because you don't get the X frame, right?
Right.
You know,
You'll never undo the damage that barbell squats and deadlifts do to your body
Yeah,
visually. That's why
Yeah.
powerlifters all look like Mr. Potato Head.
like
Well, they look
Just
like a
big
pear.
square.
They look like a big pear.
Like
yeah, a bald pear.
a bald pear.
They look like Grimace. They're usually purple because their blood pressure's too high from using
That's true.
Anadrol and Test.
Yeah.
And they have the purple bald head from Anadrol and Test. And then they've got the body that's shaped like a pear because they have tons of body fat and a huge waist and huge glutes.
Yeah.
And then they got little tiny legs like Mr. Potato Head.
Well, I have a buddy at the gym who's he is a power lifter, and he always tells me, "See, I do same shit as you. I just lift heavy, but zero nutrition." I'm like, "Well, then it's not the same. It's definitely not the same." He's like, "I just lift and eat everything," and I can tell.
Yeah,
Like you said.
I'm lucky I don't have to talk to people that stupid.
No, he's hilarious. It's his sport. He loves it. It's his passion. You know, you can tell.
Oh,
He
he's
could
a
probably
powerlifter.
lean out.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
being
that's his
fat is
thing.
actually
That's his
helpful in powerlifting if you wear equipment. The problem is the
Yeah.
raw lifters don't realize the only reason why you get fat is to use the shirts and the briefs.
Yep.
That
Yeah, he
it
uses
actually
that
is
shit.
useful for those things, but it
Yeah.
not for raw.
Yeah. But he has all the paraphernalia and shit that I don't understand. So, you know, all kinds of shit. Fun times though. For
Well,
sure.
I got to get onto my next meal, man. Do we have other
Let's
topics?
go get it.
Do you have other science fiction topics or not?
Man, the only other thing I had is there's that new Alien TV show that's coming out, Alien Earth. Yeah, it's coming out in September, I think. It's yeah, it's set in 2120, so right before the first Alien movie.
Okay, so
And it's like
Wayland Enterprises is still in.
and the competition with the other corporations.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna be fun. And apparently, like some ship crash lands, and it has not one but 5 different alien species on it. So like from different places, and all hell breaks loose. And it's the start of the synthetics too, when they first transfer like a human mind into a synthetic body. And that's
So
one
it has
of the
nothing to do with
characters.
the xenomorphs.
No, I think they're in it. They're in it.
That makes no sense though,
but
because
it's
they
like
didn't exist yet. The xenomorphs the first xenomorph was created in Alien 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that the first one? Like
Yeah.
from the, I guess because it melts with the DNA, right?
Right. Yeah. So
Like with
you
the-
never had the xenomorph. So in Prometheus, when they had the statue of the xenomorph on the wall, it was a break in canon that Prometheus destroyed the timeline because it's referencing
Oh, yeah, that's
Alien
right.
1, but it takes place before Alien 1.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, so that's it's looking good too. It looks like a high budget production. It's from Hulu and FX. I mean, did you ever see the Shogun remake
Yeah, it was
that
good.
they did?
It was good.
It was very good.
Yeah, it was good.
I think it's the same people. It's the
Well,
same.
they didn't
production
fuck
crew.
that up, so they might get this right.
No, they did that fucking. That was probably my favorite TV show last
I
year.
know it was definitely Paul's favorite. Paul, huge
Yeah, I mean,
samurai fan.
I did not know that. That's
yeah,
cool.
he's huge
Oh,
samurai fan.
Oh, cool. Then we could definitely have a samurai themed one of these for sure. Because we could definitely do that. We could talk samurai shit all day long. That's definitely one of my like you are with Vikings, I am with samurai stuff.
I'm not
Let's put it
actually
that way.
more into Vikings than I am into any other culture.
Oh, really? It
Yeah.
just see all the Valhalla stuff and the access. That's an assumption on my part. Okay. All right.
It's just like there's you have to pick a theme when you do a brand.
True.
And at the
True.
time, Vikings was a popular show on TV, and
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok was coming out. So
Yeah,
I was like,
it made
I
sense.
can with hashtags,
Yeah.
I can grab a hold of their marketing. And their marketing will carry my marketing. That was the reason
Smart.
for it. Yeah. So I didn't have to pay for marketing. I could just be in the wake of their marketing.
Yeah.
And Vikings
That's-
shit was super popular then because there was all the Viking shows were coming out.
Yeah.
And it was, you
Yeah.
know, it was like around the
They
time.
were fun too.
Yeah, there's Vikings. Then there was the Bernard Carnwell series, Last Kingdom.
Yeah.
Then eventually
I remember
Netflix
that one.
did the Vikings Valhalla show. And
Yeah. Back in Valhalla.
there
Yeah.
was Thor Ragnarok. So there was
Mhm.
a lot of shit was going on when I did this.
Yeah.
That I was taking
And
advantage
this is
of.
back when Vikings were Vikings. There weren't like any African American Vikings in the show.
Vikings Valhalla had a black queen to the Vikings, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Yeah.
Look, you know, I guess there is some cross-cultural possibility. I remember I'm descended from Spaniards, so I'm all about we had Moor everything, you know, but that's different. I don't know how many Moors made it all the way up to Sweden and Denmark, and
I mean, you could make the argument that when Bjorn took the ships to the Mediterranean, somebody might have impregnated a black person. But that doesn't mean they're going to bring their infant daughter. Like what? They don't sit around for 9 months, and then, or
let's
maybe
wait and
they.
take them.
Okay, here's another way to look at it. This is something that could have happened: is you take hostages as slaves,
right,
you bring the slaves back with you. One of the slaves happens to be black. You didn't make them a slave
Right.
because they're black,
there you go.
but Vikings
Yeah.
kept slaves that were white.
Yeah.
The original slaves were white. It's just this
No, most
slave
cultures kept
happens to be
slaves,
black,
you know.
and somebody has sex with her, and the child comes out to being a woman. And if it's a king that has sex with a slave, and the child's still a woman, that king may like his daughter, and that daughter might eventually become queen after he dies. That could have happened. The probability of that happening is so fucking low. And that somebody doesn't kill her and take her place, not because she's black, but because she's a woman, is extremely low.
Right.
Because at
we're
any
all-
point, anyone can challenge anyone to a duel for leadership. So how
Yep.
can she outfight the biggest, strongest men on the planet?
Right.
It doesn't make any
Who,
sense.
who have trained to fight their entire lives.
Right.
Like, that's all they do.
Now, in Lagatha's case, Lagatha was queen
Yeah.
because she was the wife of Ragnar, had been a shield maiden the whole time. Before the first episode, she was retired as a famous shield maiden.
Right.
And then her
Right. She was
sons
already-
were
Yeah.
kings. So she had the status and she had the backing of the sons of Ragnar.
Right.
So you can't get to her without going through her sons.
Right.
There's
So
a difference there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And she still got killed in the end. It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't like she didn't end up paying for her crime. So
Right.
I don't know, man. It just you take it's like imagine if we took a movie that was set in Wakanda and there's a white man as king of the black Amazonians. It's all female black chicks, and then they've got a white man as the leader.
Yeah.
They'd be riots. They'd be firebombing places. They'd fucking riot.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's not the message, my friend. It's not the narrative.
It's not the plot. It's about the message.
Yeah.
Who
that's
cares if
right.
it makes
Yet
any
again, we
sense?
circle down to that.
As long
Yeah.
as we get our awards and our Hollywood ceremonies.
All right. Last question I have, and this is actually a question I had for you, completely separate from the whole sci-fi thing. This one is an RPG question.
Okay.
What is, well, two parts. What's your favorite alignment to play in D&D?
Mm-hmm.
And what is the hardest alignment to role play?
Hardest
In
alignment to
your
role play is easily lawful good. I can't do it right.
Really?
Lawful good is the
Shit.
hardest. Because my group thinks that I'm so fucked that I don't understand the concept of good. So I've tried to play lawful good, and they're like, dude, you're not lawful good. You're maybe true neutral. Like,
Okay.
I can't pull it off.
What? Why? Is it just like,
Because
is
I
it
don't
lack
play,
of empathy?
I
Like,
don't
what is
play
it?
characters with less than a 13 intelligence.
Okay.
So you can't make the right choices and have them both be following the rules and selfless. You could be chaotic good. You could be chaotic good because you're willing to break the rules for the
Yeah, you
greater
can bend
good.
them. You can bend them.
And you
Yeah.
could be lawful neutral and follow the
Right.
rules regardless of right and wrong. But you can't
Yeah.
do the right thing and follow the rules since the rules are made by lawful evil people.
Right. Right. I see. Oh, this is the paladin paradox. Okay.
Right? You can't play a paladin.
Yeah.
Because no
Not
paladin
easily.
would ever survive to be a paladin.
Not for long.
You'd be killed right away.
Yeah.
You'd get in the way and someone would kill you in your sleep or poison you. Name one
Fair.
lawful good character in Game of Thrones.
Oh, but that's a very Malthusian world. But yeah,
But
no.
that's a real medieval world.
I mean, the closest to lawful good would be like Ned, and he got,
He got
killed
killed
off
in one season.
like that.
8 episodes
Yeah.
is how long as he made it.
Yeah.
He made it.
And Jon Snow, maybe neutral good, probably. Yeah, I don't know.
He broke rules all the fucking time.
Still chaotic good then.
He was more neutral good.
I was gonna say neutral because he tried to follow the rules. He just couldn't
you follow
do
the
it.
rules that make sense and you bend them or break them when you need to. If
Yeah.
he was lawful, he would have killed Rose's character.
Yeah, off the bat.
But he
That's true.
let her go because he was good.
Yeah.
You can't follow the rules and be good.
Yeah, yeah. It's that's a interesting. I really thought you were gonna say like chaotic neutral or something like that because that's a crazy person.
That's a very easy
Yeah.
alignment to play. According to most of my friends, I am chaotic neutral. Because a chaotic neutral person isn't necessarily an anarchist. They believe in their personal freedom, regardless of how it affects others. So they do whatever the fuck they want, however the fuck they want, whenever the fuck they want, and fuck anyone who doesn't like it or gets in their way. So if you
So would you
watch,
consider yourself chaotic neutral?
no, according to, I always consider myself to be, I wanted to be true neutral. According to Nova, I'm true neutral with lawful tendencies.
Okay,
That I'm
I can see
super
that.
organized and orderly, but I completely disregard anyone else's rules. I only follow the rules. I like the fact that I don't
That you've
drink
set.
alcohol or I don't use caffeine or I don't eat sugar.
Yeah.
Very few people could even do that. So I have to have some lawful tendency. But I don't believe in the laws of man because they're not laws, they're rules. And they're rules made by evil people to suppress the weak and the stupid. so that they can rape them for taxes. And it's like,
Huh.
I see no point to following the rules of man, because the rules of man aren't made for people like me.
Gotcha.
And so the fact that I see myself above the law because I'm better than the people who made the laws makes me not good and non-lawful. So I'm definitely not good and I'm definitely not lawful. But my ultimate goal is I'd rather help people, and I would never take or hurt people to get what I want.
Right.
So that I'm definitely not evil. So I might be borderline good or borderline, like according to Gary Gygax, I'm chaotic good because I took the test. But here's the thing. If you're true neutral, from everyone else's point of view, you're the opposite square that they are. So to someone who's lawful neutral, I'm chaotic neutral. To someone who's chaotic neutral, I'm lawful neutral. To someone who's
it depends on where you
neutral
sit.
evil, I'm neutral good. To someone who's neutral good, I'm neutral evil. To someone lawful good, I'm chaotic
neutral,
evil.
then.
For someone chaotic good, I'm lawful good.
Right. So I think you land on true neutral then.
Right. I'm true neutral with lawful tendencies. So what I like to do is I have a 1 to 9 scale rather than the 3-point scale. So like with 1 being good, 9 being evil, 1 being lawful, 9 being chaotic. So I'm probably like if we're to do the x-axis is going to be law or chaos, and the y-axis is being good or evil, then I'm probably something like a 3.54. So I'm right on the line between lawful and neutral. And I'm just on the neutral side of good. I'm just barely not good.
Yeah.
Like if I was a little bit more good, I'd be 3.5, 3.5. And I'd be basically true neutral with good and lawful tendencies.
Gotcha. See, for me, it's real simple. I consider myself neutral good because the law and chaos thing is very situationally dependent, but ultimately I try to be a person of service to others. So there it is.
So you prioritize altruism over organization and orderliness. I prioritize efficiency over feelings. So I don't care if people are crying. If I gave them more food than they would have gotten for themselves, then it's better that I make the choices for them.
I gotcha.
You'd
be a benevolent despot.
That I basically, if I was in charge, everyone would be better off and nobody would be happy about it. Because I would make the world perfect and they would just be miserable because they'd have nothing to complain about because I took all their problems away.
Yeah. That's one way of looking at it. And see, I'd just be happy making people happy.
Yeah,
Simple.
I don't give a shit if they're happy. I want them to be healthy and well-fed. And I want them to be efficiently working to produce what I need them to produce so that other people can be healthy and well-fed.
And eventually that might lead to happiness, though.
It would be the absence of real suffering. But the thing is that we've seen that the more you give people, the more miserable they are.
That's true.
People in Africa that have nothing are happy. People in United States that are rich and famous are overdosing.
Yeah. Yeah,
on
or
drugs.
Depressed.
Right, they're that's why they're overdosing.
Trying to escape reality.
Yeah, that they have no existential crisis, so they fabricate a crisis in their own hearts and minds. That there's no conflict.
This explains woke and all these luxury beliefs that we have in our society because we've eliminated hunger, thirst, a lot of disease.
Right.
Yeah.
All wokeism is people that are just miserable. And they hate themselves because they have no value to anyone. And so they have to focus outside themselves at something to fight because they don't want to actually make the improvements on themselves that would make them valuable.
Yeah.
None of these woke people are actually good at anything. Like they're human resources people or they're social workers. It's not like they're eye surgeons who are like, let's just throw all the money away. Yeah, like they're not like important people that you actually need. They're like the bottom feeders of society that are just online all the time because they have no actual careers.
Yeah, I forget who said it. It was one of those political guys. I'm not sure, but basically, and I'm paraphrasing. He was observing like when you see all these people that are protesting the Omni cause, be it Hamas or Palestine or Trump or whatever, whatever the cause du jour is. Ultimately, it's all about wrecking systems because you're not happy,
Right. They're miserable
rather
people.
than maintaining a system that can improve, hopefully.
Right. And that's why it's
sadly.
always single women. Because men are busy working. They don't have time to go to protests.
Right.
Nobody's
Who's at the
taking time
protest?
off work to go to a protest. Now
There
when they
aren't
have
a lot of surgeons at the
no,
protests.
there aren't.
Yeah.
The people who are supporting kids, people who actually have kids
engineers.
to support, they're not at protests. It's the
Yeah.
women who killed their babies that go to protests because they have nothing
Well, there
to
was
take care
a
of. It's-
video the other day.
the cats
of
feed
this-
themselves.
Yeah, have you seen the video? It's big, like 2 days ago, all over social media of like this lady trying to get to work, and these two protesters who are like, a guy with a man bun, going like, well, no, you don't need to get to work because we're protesting for the immigrants or whatever. And she's like, I have a son, I'm a teacher, I need to go to work. Please let me go to work. And they're like, we don't care.
She should have just shot
We're
him in
going
the
to
face.
protest and we're going to.
She should have shot him
Yeah,
in the
well.
fucking face. See, watch this,
Well,
kid. Boom, boom. And it's like the
anyway,
only
that's
good
the-
granola head's a dead granola head, son. And then taking him
Yeah,
to work.
unfortunately, that's the mindset.
Yeah.
The mindset is like the omni cause, whatever it is. Just wreck the system for the sake of wrecking it.
Which is why I hate the brouhaha. That's why I thought it was funny that you told me, you said I was like a brouhaha. I was like, I fucking hate brouhaha. The brouhaha
Well,
are
it was
like,
more the anger management issue.
the brouhaha are just leftist scum.
Oh shit! If I had to, I already told you, right? Like if it wasn't Toreador, La Sombra would be my next.
Well, that's
next
a lot more
guess.
masculine clan, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
La
yeah.
Sombra is sweet. According to
Well-
Nova, she thinks I'm a La Sombra, pretending to be a
Yeah,
Venture.
if you had seen me back in the day when I was younger and I had like long black hair and all that, you'd see the Toreador thing. You'd see it. This me now, La Sombra.
Yeah, she says I'm definitely a La Sombra pretending to be a Venture. That
I could see that too.
yeah, like somebody who would never use obtenoperation. I would just have dominate and fortitude, and I would
Yeah.
never use my obten until I've already
Of
made up my
course.
mind to kill someone. And then
Exactly.
they're never going to live long enough to say anything about it.
And then those tentacles come out.
She even said, like, the way you'd use obtenoperation is metaphysically, you would just pull their mind into a black hole of darkness. Like, I would develop dominate powers with obten so I could just stare into people's hearts and then fill them with enough depression to where they kill themselves. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like,
Fill
man,
them with
that's sick as
dread.
fuck. I was like, shoot.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
pretty like
Nova
dread.
loves me. I was like, Nova loves me. Like, that's the sweetest thing you've ever said to me. It's like,
Oh, shit. All right, man. Well, I know
right.
you gotta eat,
All
so let's wrap it up.
All right.
Thank you everybody for watching our insane conversation for the last
this is
hour
just
and a half.
normal for me. It's just all
Just-
my conversations are like this.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
So anyway, like, subscribe, link, all that good stuff. Give us comments, give us ideas to talk about crazy shit. And all right. See you next time, guys.